Good arising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praises to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Prayer to the Most High blesses this lesson this evening. Gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past. In order to understand the events that are currently happening on the earth, so we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Brethren, it's just ramping up day by day. And we know that things are going to ramp up even more as we're going through this great conjunction. We are getting more knowledge and understanding. Our enemies are being exposed daily. Looking last night, and many people were expecting relief from this bill, the $900 billion, and now all of a sudden Trump is threatening to not pass it. He wants more money for the people all of a sudden. He wants more relief for the people all of a sudden. It's just showing you how everything is in flux right now. The things that you would expect to easily, pass and they'd be able to work on for the good of the people, they can't. It's because the Most High is in charge of their demise. And we're going to get into our history. There was a book that I shared a few months ago, maybe even over a year ago. The Book of Miracles. We're going to be getting into that with some better understanding that the Most High has given us over the last couple of months. So we understand that it has been 800 years of blessing for the other nations. A brother sent me an article, or actually it's a book, some pages out of a book, and we're going to go over some of it this evening so you can get more understanding. I gave me great understanding last night when I was reading it and this morning. Thank you for sending this to me. I appreciate it, brother. This is going to be great information here for the nation. Called the prognostication based on the conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter in 1166. Okay, now see these years. You got these different years and everything else, 561, 1166. We're going to talk about that a little bit as well. But this is why you can't go off of exact timing and years that we've been given. It's easier to actually align yourself with these conjunctions and look at this is when the Most High says that these people are going to be raised up and these people will be brought down. Because that's what's been happening, and you're going to see here, on these pages right now, which then helps to understand, give us more understanding when we're reading things. Okay? Can't just look at the pictures and the dates that they tell us and think that they're telling us the truth. Because the other nations can't tell the truth, so they got to lie about absolutely everything. We're not going to read all of this, okay? But we got different types of conjunctions, okay? You got small conjunctions, kind of like middle conjunctions, and then great conjunctions, okay? And this is more so just a kind of introduction so you can kind of see what I'm reading from, okay? Let's see here. At the bottom of the first paragraph, well, let's read a little bit. The theory of astrological history based on conjunctions of Saturn and Jupiter was already described by Masha Allah, 815, and its roots lie in the Sasanian period. This theory was applied by a number of Hebrew authors, including Abraham bar Hia, 1135, and Levi ben Gerson, 1344. Because in the standard theory, a small conjunction takes place every 20 years, indicating a change in the ruler. A middle conjunction takes place every 240 years, when the conjunction moves from one triplicity to another, indicating a change in dynasty. And a great conjunction takes place every 960 years, when a cycle is completed and the conjunction returns to Aries 0. The conjunction of 1166 discussed in this prognostication is a small conjunction. Okay? So let's see here. Small conjunctions every 20 years, indicating a change in the ruler. So we're going to find out about that. There's going to be a change in the ruler going on in 1166. Okay? Abraham Ezra, 1167, considered the astrological theory of conjunctions in a number of places, notably in his Sefer Haloam. It is therefore of some interest to see if he applied these rules to an actual conjunction. Indeed, a prognostication in Hebrew based on the conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter in 1166 is ascribed to Ibn Israel in the modern secondary literature, but it seems unlikely that he was the author. Okay? For the terminology in the prognostication is not consistent with Ibn Ezra's, and the planetary aspect and the astrological houses at the time of the conjunction are ignored. Okay? So this kind of, so if you want to look up this information yourself, you kind of have a chance to kind of see where it comes from. Now we're going to take a look at a certain part of it. Okay? So we know now there's different types of these conjunctions. Okay? Well, 1166, we talk about a change of rulership or change of a ruler. Okay? And then it seems like as the different conjunctions come up, it just kind of, it seems to intensify. Okay? So let's check this part out real quick. As for what is seen in the ascendant in the first year of the conjunction, the sun will enter at the beginning of Aries. Okay, we're not going to read that part. I'm going down. Or in the evening of March 23rd, the ascendant then is Leo 18 degrees. And the ruler of the house is the sun. And the sun is in the house of exaltation. Okay. All this indicates the unfolding of the success of the king of Aragon in that year and the increase of his greatness. Since the sun is eclipsed in Taurus, the domicile of Venus, and the exaltation of the moon, afternoon when Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars are in the same triplicity as this house. The greatest among the princes of his kingdom will fall, and countries will make him tremble by means of a strong man who will arise by means of the great man's death and perishing, and by means of other men who will mock him both secretly and openly. Also, intense discord will take place between one another, and conflicts in the Christian lands will become very numerous. Okay, so at this time, who are going to be the Christians? The Hebrew Israelites. Remember, we were known as the Christians. It was like a derogatory term. Okay? These guys are going to assume our names, like, of course, later on. But the lands of the Christians, would that not be our lands right now? Our lands over there. Our lands that the Most High had already given us. How do we find our lands? Look at the ley lines. Look at the weather. Look at the lands that have seasons. There's going to be turmoil in the land after this conjunction. See, these conjunctions are very important. All right? So if there's going to be turmoil in our land, that means we're going to be entering into what? We're going to be having the blessings taken away from us and be giving the curses, correct? So that would mean who would be getting the blessings at this time? The blessings would be going to our enemies. The blessings are going to be going to who? Esau and the Gentiles. So this is like the first experiencing out here is the first experience of us of getting the curses switched from, or us being the curses being put on us anyways. Okay, so now let's keep reading. It says conflicts in the Christian lands will become very numerous, as will warfare and the sword in many places. Okay, so there's going to be a lot more warfare going on. We're going to be fighting with the other nations, and they're going to be taking us down because this is the time for that to be happening. That's why these conjunctions are so important. Okay? And events and happenings will come about in the world because of the strength of this conjunction and the eclipse in its triplicity. So because of the strength of the conjunction, these bad things are happening in our lands. As above, so below. You start seeing these signs, is that you know what's going to be happening below, down here. So keep going. And events and happenings will come about in the world because of the strength of the conjunction and the eclipse in its triplicity. For plague will break out in the west, okay? And the people will feel a headache due to the increase in phlegm and black bile. And many babies will die suddenly. Signs will be seen in the sky and comets in the air, okay? And brightness will come forth from their paths and from behind shooting stars. Okay, and there will be much trembling, earthquakes, winds, and storms, and many houses will fall down. Now, this is a big part of this, what we're seeing right here. Where is the proof of what of these things were happening over there in Europe? Okay, where is the proof of the sky? There's going to be signs will be seen in the sky, and comets in the air, and brightness will come forth from their paths, okay, and from behind shooting stars. Where is the proof of all of these things happening? See, these are going to be signs for the Most High's chosen people, because the conjunction shows how the blessings went from us to the other nations. So these bad signs are omens against the Most High's chosen people. Do you see this? How now you got to look for these signs. See, they haven't put this information about all these things happening, these events happening in the skies. They haven't been putting that out about happening over in Europe. They kept that hush hush because they know that those signs were omens against the Most High's chosen people, because we had messed up. And this was like these conjunctions. Yes, these conjunctions happen multiple times. There's different levels to the conjunctions. We know the Great Conjunction happened, I think, later in 1200s, okay? But even the dates, like I said, you can't go off of these dates. They give you different numbers. They've changed calendars, changed times. So we'll just go off of when these conjunctions are taking place and what they mean. So you get new rulers, okay? You're getting signs in the sky. And we need to look in the past in order to understand what's going to happen now and going forward. Because if these things happen to us, then they're going to happen to the other nations. They're going to get signs and omens as well, just like we did. Not everything just switched right away. But the other nations were empowered to go ahead and take over our lands. And we were we had no power against them. So again, and there will be much trembling, earthquakes, winds, and storms, and many houses will fall down. Some of the rulers will be lifted up, and some will be made low. Just like the Most High says, He raises up a nation. He tears down others. He raised up the other nations. He tore our people down. That's what happened. And that's what these conjunctions were meaning. It's what they were stating. It's what they were signifying. Again, some of the rulers will be lifted up, and some will be made low, according to the will of our power. And there will come about destruction of horses, cattle, and camels, birds, animals of the field, and some people will lose their progeny. Okay? Warfare. So this is showing what's going on right now. Let me look up that word progeny real fast, so make sure we get clarification as to what that means. Here, I'm trying to get my phone to load. Working really, really slow. Okay, here we go. Okay. Offspring of animals or plants. So yeah, okay. So some people will lose their progeny. They're going to lose their offspring of animals or plants. Okay. Next page. Disruption of the roads will increase, and many ships will sink at sea. So not able to just go, anywhere we wanted to or fro. All that stuff is all kind of cut down. Kind of like now, people just can't go wherever they want, where they're going anywhere. But eventually, they will not be able to. Right now, people are told not to travel. It sounds like they're just telling them to do whatever the hell they want to do. When you start listening to what's going on in the news, they're saying it's like a perfect storm. Hospitals are already overrun. People should be staying at home, as they say, for they've been told, because of the plague. They're like, hell no, we're going to do whatever the hell we want to do. About 1 million people a day traveling for the last 4 or 5 days, just on planes alone. You also now you have a couple of strains of the plague that are now moving around. Now you got millions of people moving on these planes also, so therefore it makes it very easier for these strains to move around. You got a medical system on the verge of collapsing. You got doctors and nurses overworked, getting sick. That, it's like I said, the perfect storm. And people just refusing to do what's right for them to actually be able to continue with their society. But I mean, like I said, so it's just showing you how eventually things are going to get so bad that they're going to restrict movement even more so. Right now, maybe they're telling you nicely, but later on they might try to make more of a, put more force behind what they want. You got many ships will sink at sea. The king will reappraise his servants, banishing some of them while relying more heavily on others. Even the beasts will not rest from fighting them and each other. Pregnant women will abort the fruit of their wombs. These are the things that were happening to our people based off a lot of these conjunctions in the 11 and 1200s. Now we're at the Great Conjunction. And the curses are switching from our people back to the other nations. So therefore, many of these things that we went through, they're going to experience. It says, okay, let's continue here. In the first years of the conjunction, crops will increase, but in the fourth year there will be dearth and great famine in the lands of Kedar. They are the Berbers, and we know the Berbers are also referring to the Israelites. And in the land of the west, many will flee because of the sword, the famine, and the pestilence. So many people will be trying to flee to the Americas as well. Even I'm sure even back then. Okay, because of all the things that are happening on the land. They're trying to get away from the destruction, okay, over in Britain, Ireland, Scotland, Europe. They're trying to flee from all the, the sword that the other nations are bringing against our people, against the plagues that the Most High is bringing against our people, against the diminished power the Most High has done to our people. We'd moved into the plagues. So again, many will flee because of the sword, the famine, and the pestilence. So it's going to be all these different things that are going to make people want to run away. So be looking forward to that here in the Americas. You're going to be looking for, the sword, famine, and Nevertheless, this is how you can tell about with these other nations and what is their main priority. What were they concentrating on? Reconstruction of buildings will succeed. See, they're going to be destroying our buildings and then building their buildings on top of ours. They're going to be taking over our ley lines, taking over our power source for themselves. And that was a big priority for them at this time. The other nations are reconstructing, all these different places. And we know that now. We understand that now with the ley lines. It says, and the farmers will work the wilderness and the desolate lands. They will rebuild the ruins and will be very occupied with these matters. They are worried about rebuilding the ruins. What are the ruins? Our sacred places. Why is that? Because they know that that's where they're going to get their power from. So they're going to rebuild on top of our sacred places. And they're very much concerned. This is a high priority for them. So in a land where there's, swords and pestilence and famine, the other nations are worried about rebuilding on our secret sites. And that's huge. They will rebuild the ruins and will be very occupied with these matters. Now you go back to that law where the Romans, called pagans, we're talking about, people that were living in these certain places, and it was pretty much a law for them to rebuild over our sacred sites. Now you're seeing why. We understand why. It says the people of Israel will move from their place to other lands, and many will be occupied with other lands that they previously did not know. So they're going to moving all over the place, as well as to other lands that they did not know. The fourth part. Many of the Israelites over there were familiar with the three parts, but now they're going to places where they did not know. Many warriors will rest from war. The mighty ones will be made low, and the lowly will be raised up. The switch. That's what was going on back then. Again, and in line with the conjunctions. The mighty, which are our people, were made low, brought down to the bottom. We went from the blessings to the curses. The lowly, the other nations, went from being low to being high, to being pretty much put up on a pedestal, given their blessing. You see how this is all coming together. This is the Bible right here. But see, now that we're at the Great Reset, and these people are supposed to be moved from being high to low, they don't all of a sudden they don't believe the Bible no more. Now that it's their time to go from being up high and down low, now all of a sudden the Bible's no good. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, correct? We went through ours. We went through our punishment. Why do you seem to think you don't have to go through yours? The conjunctions told you about that for the last 800 years. These two great conjunctions. So again, the mighty ones will be made low, and the lowly will be raised up. Wonders will be seen in the east and in the land of Israel. New things will happen, as also in other lands. The summer will be made temperate, and the heat of the sun will be milder. On the other hand, there will be intense cold in the winter. The king will muster his soldiers and marshal his armies to cross the sea to fight. So here you go. Now it's them being brought over to the fourth part. They're being brought over to fulfill prophecy. I said, these are, see, they make it seem like for 800 years, all of their actions had nothing to do with prophecy. I mean, pretty much that's what you're hearing right from them. That you guys really trying to say that for the last 800 years, when you guys have been in power, prophecy has not been fulfilled one bit. I said that they've been fulfilling prophecy this whole time, but they for sure do not want to take credit for anything that they've done. That part right there that we just read about coming to these other lands here is all part of prophecy. It says the king will muster his soldiers and marshal his armies to cross the sea to fight. That's this right here. Revelation 6 and 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. This was all signified, again, by the great conjunctions. The same things that they did over there, how they were killing our people, what was again with the sword, famine, and pestilence. If you look at the top there, page 740, we read it earlier. It says right there that right here, many will flee because of the sword and famine and pestilence. This is in the 3 parts. This is now said again, it's repeated again in the 4th part. Revelation chapter 6, verse 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the 4th part of the earth, to kill with what? Sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. So this is happening over here in the 3 parts. This was all part of the curses. They brought that same, covenant that they had with the Most High. They were being used to destroy people. They brought that over here to the 4th part. So again, the king will muster his soldiers and marshal his armies to cross the sea to fight. How do we know it's over here? Keep going. This will bring about great sorrow for the people of Israel, and the tumult will increase. So they were coming over here for what? To destroy the Israelites, just as we've been saying the whole time. Again, this all goes back to the Great Conjunctions. All of a sudden, the Great Conjunction happens. All this grief and destruction starts to happen with our people. Okay, so again, this will bring great sorrow for the people of Israel, and the tumult will increase, and the people will become mad in many places for a limited time period. It's going to happen for 400 years. It's going to happen for a limited time period. It's going to happen until we come to the next Great Conjunction, which is what we're in right now. So see, that's why it's been so important for other nations to keep us from looking at these conjunctions, looking at their significance. We even got people in our own nation who've done everything in their power to keep us from coming together and praying at this grand conjunction. They'd much rather just ignore it and have you ignore it so you would not take advantage of getting your power back. What does it hurt to come together and pray to the Most High? You see, some people are more concerned with being right than doing what's right for the Most High. Is it better that you're right? Or is it better that the Most High gets the glory and we follow him wherever he leads us? So this is only going to happen for a limited time. Okay? It's going to happen. It's going to take place here for a limited time period. Thereafter, so after their time is up, after they've had their time to destroy us on all 4 corners. Therefore, thereafter, the hearts of the kings will return to the people, and the heart of the people to their lords. God will improve the lands, and the merchants will return with their merchandise. Holy Spirit will increase in the world. The faithful will return with deeds of righteousness for mankind, and there will be peace in the land. So this next conjunction, the one that just happened, the one that's still happening right now, these are the blessings that come after we've served our limited time of being under the thumb of the other nations. So again, talking about we're going to be turning our hearts back to the Most High. Just like I said in Baruch chapter 2, about us being, turning back to the Most High in the lands of our captivities. Turning back to the Most High in the lands of our captivities. The Most High is going to improve the lands, just like he said in Joel 2. He's going to improve the lands and sweep the other nations off. The merchants will return with their merchandise. Okay? setting things back up again in the lands like he said he would before. The Holy Spirit will increase in the world. Oh man, that's exactly what she's been doing. Bringing back knowledge and understanding. Raising up her people. Being that dove that sits back over the land. Okay? And the faithful will return with deeds of righteousness for mankind. And there will be peace in the land. So this great conjunction that we've just witnessed and we've gone through is going to signify a time soon to come of peace in the land. See how this is working out. Now hopefully you can see all the ones that have been working so hard to keep us from praying right now in this great conjunction. Praying for restoration to our Father. And please, I hope you're still praying. Because like I said, this conjunction goes on for a few days. Just keep praying. Keep asking the Most High to restore us as a people. Restore our lands to us. Restore the air. Restore the water. Restore the animals. Bring back balance. Renew our energies. Renew our bodies. Make known what they have hidden from us. Empower us once again. That's what we're praying for. Another heaven here on earth, as above, so below. And said, blessed be the Most High, who knows future events, for there is none like him. Is that not the truth? Now, as I was reading this last night and this morning, Most High moved me to go back to this book right here, the Book of Miracles. Sister actually, inspired me to get this book a while ago. She recommended it to me, got it, and then, I read it, read a little bit of it, checked it out, but then I didn't really make the connections about what's going on with it until today. Today, the connections made so much more sense. See, this book right here, it's talking about all these events that were happening over in Europe. All these events are happening in the skies. Remember, we were just read about how there's going to be all these signs in the skies. But we never really realized that they were happening over in Europe because they kept that stuff secret until today. It's another little top, the cover here of the Book of Miracles, okay? See, these guys have always set up everything to be all about them. Just like when you look at all the movies, all the King Arthur movies, everybody's white. The good guys are white, the bad guys are white. This is supposed to be a representation of Book of Revelation. Let me get it real quick here. Find it here. So I don't want to rip any pages. Let's see. It's supposed to be Revelation. Hold on. This book here is rubbing up on everything. Let me find it. This is supposed to be Revelation chapter 6, 9, and 11. It says, when he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain for the word of God and for the witness they had borne. They cried out with a loud voice, O sovereign Lord, holy and true, how long before you will judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth? Then they were each given a white robe and told to rest a little longer until the number of their fellow servants and their brothers should be complete, who were to be killed as they themselves had been. So again, everybody here is white. This is what they do right here. So when you start looking at these pictures, you start, you don't have that connect between what's going on over here in Europe as to what's going on with our people. Because they make it sound like everybody's been white. So all the people that are going through these things, this destruction and these omens, were all just white people. And they were, so, and it would make sense sometimes because we know that a lot of these Europeans do a lot of wicked things and that the Most High was going to judge them, of course. But what doesn't make any sense is this. Hold on, you'll see. Here's a little picture here of the angels here, Most High up here, and the people getting their robes right now. Okay? Everybody's white. So you assume then that the people that are under the altar are also white because they got nothing but white people up here. But then we got this right here. Go here, find it. Okay, this is supposed to have happened in 1173, around about the time of the Grand Conjunction. It says, in the year AD 1173, a great darkness came over the sun, and a star appeared nearby, which was in the south. It could be seen clearly throughout Italy. So you got some star popping up, okay? You got these things going on in the skies, okay? Now we know that around 1173, and it said some of it is, they'll say it's 1173, sometimes they'll say it's 500 and something, okay? But these were still our lands. And that's what we have to make sure we understand. We were still in control of these lands. Not until that great conjunction, or some of these smaller conjunctions, when he starts switching things around, we were still predominantly the ones in the land. So when you start seeing other things going on, other signs, these are not going against so-called Edomites and Gentiles. These events are mostly going against our people, because we were still the ones that were occupying these lands. So all these bad occurrences and these bad events and these omens were happening against the Most High's chosen people. How do I know this? Grand conjunctions. Kings changed. All of a sudden, the blessings went from us to the other nations. So the other nations were being what at this time? Blessed. So would they be getting all of these omens and all these horrible things happening to them? Probably not. Not for the most part. Why is that? Because they were under the blessings at this time. So when you start going through this book and you start looking at all these horrible omens, well, we were all over Europe. So these omens were for what? For who? Who were the ones that were going from being blessed to being moved down to the curses? We are. So so then these omens will be going against who? Us. So you're talking about plagues going on over there in the other lands? Who are those going against? Us. Because what happened when the Spaniards came over here? Remember, everything happened over there. It just seemed to happen right over here when they came over. Our people were killed with what? Plagues. As they call it, smallpox. But we were getting the plagues over here. So it makes sense then that we'd be getting the plagues over there. Before the Spanish even got here, Moctezuma and the Florentine Codex saw the omens of all the bad things that were going to be coming for our people shortly. So then over there, you can see you get the same things. You get these omens, these events happening. And it would just be pretty much meaning that all these bad things are about to happen to us. And this is around 1184. Let me get the part here. I got to read it. Just got to find some of these here. Because this is supposedly happening in Rome in this picture. Hold on. Just looking for some pages for you guys. Okay. As you can see, it's like written in different languages. So you have another book that actually gives you the English translation of what is going on in some of these places. Let me see. Let me continue. Here it is right here. In the year AD, see, it says one to the left at the top. So if you look at the picture right here, it's in another language, and in here it's kind of like the breakdown of what's going on. But what I want you to see is over here, you can see it in English. It says 1184, in fact 684, and here it says 1184. So you got these different years, okay? In the AD 684 or 1184, a comet appeared for 3 months. This was followed by such heavy rain, storms, wind, and thunder as had never had been heard before. And this element acted as if it wanted to destroy the city of Rome completely. And great many livestock died in terrible ways. And people died from the lightning in the sky they saw. Like I said, they can't prove that there was any Rome in 1100s, 600s right here. This goes back to the medieval empire of the Israelites and how they like to, kind of act like the same things that were happening to us was happening to them. But if you look at the time, 1184, around the time of the, these conjunctions and the switching of the curses and then omens of things happening in the skies. There and their blessings at this point. So now the Most High is blessing them and he's cursing us. They always love to make it seem as if they've gone through so much. We know that as of today, it's always like the Mr. Me Too. I've had it bad too. When these things are happening to us, I'm sure they don't want people to realize. Like I said, the main thing has been for us not to realize that we were already over there. They've been hiding the fact that those lands are ours. They've been hiding the ley lines. But they were so quick to make it a point to try to build. Their main thing was to try to build everything back up, build up the ruined places. So as you can see, the Most High was destroying our places, even with natural events, with different ways. The natural events, the sword, pestilence, in order to sweep us off the lands so the other nations could take over our sacred spots. So he was helping them out, right? Here's another one right here. Blood raining down. And this is said to have happened around 1364. In fact, they said 864. Who knows? But in the year AD 1364 or 864, it rained blood near the city of Brixen for 3 days and nights, as is painted here. So in Brixen, that Britain, I said, but raining blood. That'd be the Most High again, bringing more death and destruction, more omens to the people who have been cursed. Would it be raining blood for people who have been blessed? It'd be raining blood for the ones who have been cursed. So what they do is they just paint their likeness in there and make it seem like, yeah, we've been having it rough too. Most High's been, giving us the curses too. When we know that this is the kinds of things that the Most High, put on us as a curse. There's another one right here. Let's see. Let me get it. I have these tabs on this book to try to find it. Okay, this one said to have happened in 1348. Okay. Again, during the time of their blessings and our cursing. So you try to figure out who this is happening to. In 1348, in the first year of the reign of Emperor Charles IV, a great vapor moved densely and hideously in the clouds, so that the earth was darkened. At that moment, a great number of worms and vermin fell upon the earth in the east, so that many people died from the stench, and hardly 10 were left alive out of 1,000. So does it not sound like a curse that had fallen on our people? And the Most High was killing us off? And this was happening over there, and as they call it, in Europe. So these are just a couple of the curses that was going on over there. But see, these people, the other nations, were living under the blessings. So right now, Deuteronomy 28 And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And that's what the Most High did for the other nations. He set them on high. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. So these horrible omens would not be befalling you, because you'd be under the blessings. Blessed shalt thou be, blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thine kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. So you guys are going to be blessed with everything. Food, everything you guys, animals, livestock, everything you're going to be blessed with, because it was a time of your blessing. So when we start looking at all these bad things that are going on, that doesn't pertain to you, because you guys were being blessed. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out. And that's what the Most High already gave you guys. He gave you your blessing already. And now you guys are going to think you're going to go right back to doing that and getting that blessing once again. Let's look at 7. The Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way, and shall flee before thee 7 ways. So that's why you guys had the sword. And you guys were able to destroy us. And all this was in conjunction. All of this was all in line with the conjunctions. I'm not going to read anymore. You guys can continue reading it. You said, but this is all the other nations. Esau and the other nations. See, you guys got 800 years. You got to get the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom and enslave them. That was fulfillment of prophecy. Jeremiah 15:33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. So Most High destroy us over there in Europe, just like we talked about in that article. Then you guys came over here to the 4th part and destroyed the rest of the tribes of Israel. It was already foretold. And if it happened in some other time, please make a video and explain that, where this was actually, already fulfilled a long time ago. We know that it wasn't. And it's funny because as things keep ratcheting it up, they talk about this new strain. All of a sudden, everybody's like, "Oh, it's the elites." They want to make sure they get everybody, so they're unleashing another strain of the virus. It's always it's the elites, the elites, the elites, right? Can't be the Most High that doesn't want a lot of people here, even though it's written in the scriptures that He doesn't want a lot of people here. That the Most High is about to kill a whole lot of people. Just because you guys hide the scriptures doesn't mean it's not going to come to pass. 2nd Esdras 8:1. And he answered me, saying, the Most High hath made this world for many. So this era, this time period, was made for many. But the one to come, remember, Esau is the beginning. Jacob is that next one right there. Okay? But the world to come for few. It's not your elites. It's not your rich, your fat cats. It's the Most High who has ordained this. And as we try to talk to people and try to, share with them, and there's so few that even care, I understand the scripture even better. And I'm sure you guys do too. Most are so content with this world and want it to come back to their normal so bad that you understand why the Most High says things like this. Why he says, and he answered me in saying, the Most High hath made this world for many, but the world to come for few. Now it makes so much more sense what we're seeing playing out day to day. 2 Esdras chapter 9. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. The Most High is beginning to visit the world that he made. It's just to measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. We are understanding that in the past, the Most High already started fulfilling prophecy when we had this in these conjunctions in the 11 and 1200s. We see him fulfilling prophecy and bringing us low from the beginning. We see how, these plagues and curses followed us over here. Now that we see the conjunction, this great conjunction, we now realize that the Most High is visiting the lands once again. It says, Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works, and endings and effects and signs. So as you can see there in 6, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works. You can see how the Most High had the beginning of our destruction with wonder and powerful works. That book is huge. It has many different signs and wonders. And now we can see that in the beginning of our destruction, there were plenty of wonder and powerful works. Most High did a wonder to destroy us in order for our enemies to be able to take over the lands, starting over there in Europe, Britain, Ireland, Scotland. He took us down, swept us off the land, and now we can see that. So again, even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works. So you can see how the Most High was destroying us and taking us from the top, bringing us down. And an end, okay? And the end is manifest. And right now, the Most High is manifesting himself right now. He's bringing us back into the knowledge and understanding and giving us an opportunity, to get ourselves right, to be able to pray to the Most High right now in order to ask him to bring us back to the top. And he's going to be bringing many wonderful plagues to the other nations. They've been living in a fantasy world, and they've been enjoying the blessings this whole time. So I hope that this gives a little bit more understanding as to what's going on worldwide. How it's just the beginning of Esau's trouble. And they have a lot to atone for. Keep praying, brethren. We're still in this conjunction. All praise is to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledge Yahweh Shai. Shalom.